Jayanti Mala came to India 6 years ago. Her family fled violence in Afghanistan. They say they were targeted because they are Sikh.
There was always fighting there. My sister was shot in the stomach. My brother was shot in the foot. Both died. We left everything behind and fled here.
After coming to India, Jayanti also lost her husband. She now lives with her daughters-in-law and other family members in a small apartment in West Delhi. None of them have valid papers. A complicated application process for visas and citizenship has handicapped them. Her grandchildren don't have identity documents to get into school either. Even those who have been born in India are expected to obtain Afghan passports. But a proposed law that will grant citizenship to refugees like Jayanti Mala has fanned their hopes. The Afghan Sikh community has campaigned long and hard for this. They say that they are Indian by heritage.
These people haven't had an identity for years. This is a big problem. They don't have passports. This new bill will benefit a lot of people, even the ones who have arrived more recently.
But that doesn't mean all Afghan migrants in Delhi are celebrating. The bill eases the path to citizenship for Hindus, Sikhs, Christians, but not Muslims. That includes the Saigani family, who arrived in India in 2011. They worked together in their fourth-floor apartment to make Afghan naan, a taste of home for the thousands of fellow refugees in the city. They say they feel far safer here in Delhi than back in Mazar-e-Sharif. And they're grateful that India has taken them in. But it hasn't been easy. Saadi couldn't get papers for his first 4 years in India. He waited a year to get his first visa, which was valid for 2 weeks. Another year's wait got him a 20-day permit. Now, finally, he has an 8-month visa. Saadi wishes his parents did not have to work. He says citizenship would ease access to jobs and provide better incomes for him and his 2 brothers. But he's not hopeful. The few Afghan Muslim refugees he knows who tried to get citizenship were rejected.
If I'm refugee, if other people is refugee, like Hindu people, like other religions, we are all the same situation. They should write for all the same level, because we are all human beings.
For now, Saadi hopes to find a way to migrate west, to Europe or the US. It has been 7 years since he fled Afghanistan, but India does not feel like home either.
For more, the author of that report, Nimisha Jaiswal, joins us now from Delhi. Nimisha, good to see you. What really is the motive here behind the government amending the Citizenship Act of 1955?
Well, Baresh, the narrative of the Indian government here is simple. They are saying India stands by the persecuted religious minorities of the countries of Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan. Just a few days ago, we had Prime Minister Narendra Modi at a rally saying that India will stand by the tortured children of Mother India. But there's a problem with this narrative, claiming that everybody who is from these 6 non-Muslim religions can be assumed to be of Indian origin, also claims alongside that Muslims are not possibly from India originally. This feeds right into the Hindu bias, the perceived Hindu bias that this nationalist government has been said to have over the last 5 years, and this perceived Islamophobia that has been seen in this government over the last 5 years. Again, with the big elections coming up, this could be a move to pander to that Hindu electorate.
But has there been any opposition at all to these moves by the government?
Well, yes, there's definitely been opposition. A lot of people have been critical of the fact that this move violates the right to equality in India. India claims to be a secular country, and granting citizenship on the basis of religion is problematic. Opposition parties, including the Indian National Congress, have said this. However, there's also a more complicated part of the question this is raising. Out in the northeastern states of India, in Assam, for example, there's a national registration of citizens. Over there, there's a sub-nationalism going on. The people of Assam are fighting this bill because they are saying we only want to keep people who were here before a certain cut-off year, and we do not care what their religion is, that allowing Hindus in and allowing other religions in will basically affect the demography of the Northeast. So criticism coming in from different sides, but this government is standing strong on its support for this bill.
DW correspondent Nimisha Jaiswal reporting for us there from Delhi. Thank you very much. The Indian government is standing strong on another key issue, identifying and repatriating Rohingya Muslims. This against the urgings of the United Nations, which has stressed repeatedly that conditions in Myanmar aren't safe to return to. India is increasingly taking the line that the Rohingya are not refugees, but illegal immigrants. Hundreds are trying to flee to Bangladesh to avoid detention or deportation. But they're not wanted there either.
Rohingya refugees on the run again, desperate not to be sent home. Over recent weeks, hundreds of families have left India for Bangladesh, fleeing the threat of deportation back to Myanmar. We escaped by secretly crossing the border. We had to pay traffickers a lot of money. It was very tough for us. It took 8 to 9 days to get into Bangladesh. While most Rohingya refugees sought shelter in Bangladesh, tens of thousands ended up in India. Hindu hardliners regard them as illegal aliens and a security threat, and have called for mass deportations. Some forced to flee India say they'd been living in the country for years. We were doing great. The police in India never bothered us. Then the government started trying to force us back to Myanmar. If someone was unwilling, they threatened to shoot us. Many would be returning to this. The United Nations says Myanmar is still too dangerous for Rohingya to go back to. In ravaged Rakhine State, a military crackdown continues and ethnic violence is still rife. How could we go back with all the violence? We'll go back only when there's peace. An estimated 1.2 million Rohingya refugees are now in Bangladesh. Speaking to DW, the country's foreign minister called on the world to share the burden.
It's not our problem. The Rohingya problem is a global problem. We are being affected today. Tomorrow, if this problem lingers for a longer period, my fear is that other countries will be affected. Particularly, it will hurt the interest of Myanmar. It will hurt other neighboring countries. If there is uncertainty, it will create, instability in the region, and instability never is good for any country.
For now, the Rohingya remain in limbo, unwanted in neighbouring countries and unable to return to their own.